to Stanford, and it's an easier path perhaps than me going to a directional school. But that's okay. There's the advantage to sometimes not getting that is that you grow some calluses. You're a little tougher. You can deal with it. I wouldn't want to be a trust fund kid. I like my journey. I like my life. I like the struggle. You know, I get off on the pain sometimes. So Giannis yesterday signs the supermax with Milwaukee, the supermax contract. And there's a feeling that, oh, this is good for the league. And it does feel more fair. I would acknowledge that. And I do think big picture, it's nice to have some geographical, balance around the country. I like the NFL's got Kansas City's good and little small town Buffalo's good. And then the Rams are good too. I like that. But that doesn't mean it's better for the NBA. If Giannis is so great in Milwaukee, then why do they put their playoff games on at noon where you can't drive revenue? It would be much better for Giannis to go to Chicago, L.A., New York, and Miami because then they'd put him on at prime time. And that's why the NBA makes $3 billion a year. They put their stars in prime time. I've watched the NBA my entire life. I watched it in the 70s, and not even the 70s, the early 70s. The Lakers with Jerry West, Wilt, and Gail Goodrich. The two complaints about the NBA have always been the stars have too much power, and they only want to play in the cool cities. Long before MJ made us watch the league, Lou Alcindor left Milwaukee for the Lakers, and it was all good, bruh. It was just fine. The league's making $3 billion a year now just on their national TV contracts. It doesn't count tickets. It doesn't count parking. It doesn't count food. It doesn't count advertising. It doesn't count sweet. The league is swimming in cash. The league would have been fine wherever Giannis went. The key to the NBA, though, is the more thrilling it has been at the top, the less we give a rip and complain about the bottom. When Magic and Larry Bird in the 80s were in the finals every year for a decade, nobody gave a rip about the bottom. Movie studios don't care about the bombs if you got Star Wars or Jason Bourne and you're making hundreds of millions or billions for the Avengers, then they don't care that a movie lost $23 million because they're making that in a Thursday on the Avengers. And by the way, the NBA has always had a Hollywood feel. Hollywood's a very unique industry, and the NBA in sports is very unique. The power structure is different. In baseball, in football, in hockey, the league, the teams, the owners control it. In the NBA and in Hollywood, Tom Cruise is significantly more important than any studio president, any CEO. In fact, sometimes in his prime, Mission Impossible and Tom are bigger than an entire movie studio. They are the profit center. Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans are more important sometimes, some years, some decades for a movie studio if you can carry that kind of weight. So there's no argument here that Giannis, the league, would have been in deep trouble since the 70s. Lou Alcindor, Wilt going to the Lakers, Lou Alcindor going to the Lakers, Shaq going to the Lakers. You whine the whole time about, the league. And then we get an MJ or a Kobe or a LeBron and a Durant and a great player and a D. Wade, and we fall in love and we watch and the league makes money. I don't think the league is necessarily better the more I think about it that Giannis went to Milwaukee. It does feel more fair. There's some symmetry here that I think is good. I like to see Midwest teams. It gives it texture and fabric that I think is important. The NBA's bigger problem is not the bottom of the league. It's the top isn't quite as thrilling as we want it to be. KD got hurt, and Steph got hurt, and Zion's not quite there, and there is a little LeBron fatigue going on. It doesn't bother me, but there's a little LeBron fatigue, the downside to a guy that seemingly is going to play for a quarter of the century and probably for 2 decades be the best player. But the idea that the NBA would have been in trouble if Giannis went to Miami or LA, no, it wouldn't. They'd make more money off it. This league's never been driven by the bottom. Hollywood's never been driven by independent films. It's driven by the Avengers. It's driven by Star Wars. I know, the critics roll their eyes at it. The critics roll their eyes at the Avengers and The Rock and the superhero movies. It's what drives all the revenue, not your quirky little independent film about Napa or Paris. That's not what drives the industry. All right. James Harden. I mean, seriously? Get on a treadmill once in the offseason? I don't know. So I saw something yesterday with James Harden and another story out about James Harden. I got this thing. This is from Tim McMahon. What a circus the Rockets were with James Harden. I'll discuss that coming up. Folks, there's new news from our friends in Austin, Texas with Tecovas, a company we absolutely love. They do leather goods, travel bags, wallets, boots. They have 3 styles of women's boots, men's boots, belts. They do everything. Travel bag I use every weekend. Now they're launching Tecovas Ranch Wear, a collection of products ready to work and play as hard as you are. Boots with rubber soles and removable insoles. Straight Western jeans look great with all the boots, men's and women's. Super cool denim trucker jacket, corduroy collar and cuffs. The thing you've always liked about Tecovas, if you've ever tried their products, the thing I like is the quality. They're not in a hurry. Many of them made in Mexico, handmade, no middleman, reasonable prices, direct-to-consumer pricing. This, with Tecovas Ranch Wear, they didn't sacrifice any quality. Go to tecovas.com, check out all their stuff, or a Tecovas retail store near you. Good company, Austin, Texas.